Hello mindenki! Ami most fog történni, az a következő, egy kis főzés és egy kis politika történelem. Meglátjuk, hogy mi jön ki belőle, ez az első próbálkozásunk. És hogyha minden jól megy, akkor ezt folytatni is fogjuk. Today, what are we going to do today?
Gorgonzola cheesecake.
Alright, could you introduce the ingredients?
Yeah. So a traditional cheesecake is normally a dessert, so it's more of a sweet confection or a cake. This is used as an appetizer or an opening part of the meal, and it is more savory. It's made with gorgonzola cheese, which is right here. Traditional cream cheese, which is right here. It's mixed with eggs. And the crust, which is only on the bottom of the pan, is made, this one, like in a sweet cheesecake, it's made with graham crackers or a sweet cracker of some kind, or a sweet cookie of some kind. For this, it's made of polenta, which is a cornmeal mixture that'll be made with garlic, salt, basil, Parmesan cheese, and cornmeal mixed into a crusty kind of cornmeal thing, pressed in the bottom of the pan right here, and then the cheese mixture is poured over top, and then it's baked with roasted garlic in there as well. So we will get started. First thing you do, but it takes some time, is you want to make the polenta. So you take about a cup and a half of water.
I think all these things they can see. Let's just start talking about
Sweet.
The other stuff. So you think the best possible state form is constitutional monarchy?
Yes.
Please explain.
Well, the reason why I'm probably one of the few people on the face of the earth that think that aren't a member of, that aren't in the constitutional monarchy. Having grown up in America, I have kind of a jaundiced view of how we view our nationhood and our statehood. You know, if you're American, you have these obsessions with certain kinds of rights or privileges that you feel that you're innately born to. And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But one of the key factors or issues that comes out is people always have these kind of separate ideas of what constitutes being a good American or what symbolizes being a good American. When you have nations like Canada, the United Kingdom, Sweden, Norway, Spain, that have these constitutional monarchies, that still plays an active part. People have their own ideals or ideas of what constitutes a good Spaniard, or what constitutes a good Brit, or a good Canadian, or a Swede, or so forth. But overarching that in a lot of ways is this concept of nationhood brought up in an ideal of an individual that represents their nation. It represents the ideals that are implicit in being a Brit, or a Spaniard, or a Norwegian. And those individuals are invariably their constitutional monarchs, as a king or a queen or a prince or an archduke or what have you. That's their title. Their position is sovereign. That's the role that they fulfill within the government. And you know, well-run constitutional monarchies, that position is somebody who is above the politics of government and who is above the daily grind and argument. They become this person that is kind of the individual that is there to advise the government, you know, saying, hey guys, I think you're going too far in this.
So what you were saying last time is that there is something that differentiates this sovereign from any political power that is temporary.
Right, when you have a sovereign, we'll use the most common example cited in the United Kingdom. You know, they have a queen. They've had a queen. Queen Elizabeth II has been on the throne since 1950 something. She's had 9 prime ministers, innumerable governments that have come through, both conservative and liberal. She's been through this like stark modernization after World War II, bringing them out into the open, into the modern world, into their lifestyles that they have now. And she represents that link to the past as well as to the future. I mean, that provides a continuity that we don't have. And that provides a continuity that a lot of nations don't have. I mean, we did before we were the United States, but it was kind of acrimonious at the time anyway. But if you think about it, in the UK, you have groups now that heavily for republicanism, but in interviews with these folks that are really heavily for republicanism, they don't want to get rid of any of the trappings of the monarchy. I mean, they want to get rid of the monarch, you know, but monarchy, especially in the United Kingdom, provides a very large amount of income for, you know, the nation through the City of London, through tourism, through things like that. It provides this, you know, come and see the monarch. And in London, the times that, you know, when I ask other Americans, you know, did you come here to see the Trooping of the Color? Did you come here to see the Changing of the Guard? Did you come here to see this? And they'll say, yeah, well, yes, but I'm really hoping that the Queen will appear. Or I'm really hoping that Prince Charles will appear. Or I'm really hoping that I'll see Will. They come to see that continuity. They come to see those individuals. So let's pause here where I'm at in making the cheesecake. We cooked the polenta, let it cool, then I added some Parmesan cheese, and now it's ready to be pressed in the bottom of the pan. I put some butter on the bottom, just to be on the safe side.
I understand. There is cultural continuity and actually financial significance.
Well, see, and that differs. I mean, that differs from constitutional monarchy to constitutional monarchy. You have monarchies that are entirely supported by the country that they're in, and then you have monarchies that aren't. In the United Kingdom, it costs approximately, in US dollars, 63 cents. So every taxpayer in the United Kingdom and in the Commonwealth nations like Canada pays about 63 cents US to support the monarchy. Not children, not the bum on the street, not businesses, taxpayer. The comparison between the cost of the US president as head of state, only his role as head of state, is per US citizen. So regardless of whether they pay taxes, the cost is about $4. Now granted, the president internationally is perceived to be far more important than the Queen of England or the King of Spain or the King of Norway or the Queen of the Netherlands or what have you. So now this is roasted garlic, okay? And I'm going to add some in here. So now we've pressed it in there. Now the cheese mixture goes on top like this. Gets poured in there. And you want to get every little bit in there, because it's cheesy goodness. Yes. Cheese dishes. She's not a member of a political party. She's not beholden to anybody. She's not responsible to anybody. Nobody's going to vote her out because she's above it. And so she's there, that position, that person is there to make sure that everything runs. She's not concerned with whether it runs to the right or to the left politically. She's concerned with just making sure that it runs. We don't have that. And a lot of republics, most republics, don't have that. And it's a danger.
Alright, so let's just...
So now this is going to go in the oven for about an hour.
Alright.
You know, granted, you have this person who's elected into the position who's a president, and he's supposed to be above it. But he's still a representative or beholden to a political party, the political party that backed him to get into that job. Senators and representatives and presidents and vice presidents who get elected into their positions and then are beholden to the people that gave them the money to afford to run for election. And so they're, you know, they no longer then represent the people that they've been essentially elected and hired to represent. They're representing the people that gave them the cash to get into the job.
Obviously.
How fair is that? Whereas flipping it, I get the job on my own, right? Nobody pulled any strings to get me the job.
It's
Do I have to worry about pissing you off or pissing your friend off or pissing the other person off, depending upon who I chose?
yeah, because it's
No.
passed down generation by generation.
Right.
Yeah, well, we don't have that right now.
And what's sad about Hungary is that, you know, you weren't given the opportunity to develop that. I mean, you know, you had a monarchy for for quite a long time, and it was a monarchy that, you know, the first king of Hungary, St. Stephen, did a very good job of kind of providing that through the ideal of the crown, but unfortunately the Austrians came along and, you know, took in the Hungarian monarchy with their own, and it kind of went a different direction, so it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that other nations that have the ability and are kind of on a precipice, that have historically had monarchs that have lost them, like Romania, or, you know, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy even, may have they have these people that can rise up and provide some sort of focus for national unity without becoming nationalistic, i.e.
Is that happening at all? Any place you think?
I think it's happening to some degree in Romania. It's happening to some degree in Bulgaria. It's happening to some degree, I think, probably in Hungary.
I think this is where we shall catch up next time.
Okay.
This is quite the concept of nationalism is quite tough.
It's touchy. It's tough.
Yeah,
Well,
touchy.
it's tough to really kind of understand what everybody means by nationalism.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, my major problem is when people ask me what Hungary does mean to me, like what the nation of Hungary does mean to me.
You don't know.
I don't know, because it's very subjective, and you know, it means everyone something different. Anyway, let's catch up with that.
We have an hour.
Yeah.
Then we'll have a fantastic cheesecake.